Hey guys, great to see you. Welcome back. So there you heard me, improvising. So what is improvising? Well, essentially, it's doing something that you haven't planned. So something on the fly or something spontaneous. And many of us will have heard our favourite musicians doing exactly this in a live situation. So rather than them playing what is recorded on the CD, which would just be repetition, right? When it comes to the solo, they will just play something completely spontaneous, i.e. improvising. It's also important to note that the drummer or the bassist or even the rhythm guitar player could be doing exactly the same thing. So the improvisation doesn't just apply to whoever's playing the solo. And this is kind of typical in jazz music, right? Now, that's not to say that there isn't some predetermined structure, okay? So as in the previous example, if you're just playing a song, it has a structure, but you can still improvise. And having this framework can determine where the improvisation will take place. So it could be, for example, that the musicians decide that they are going to improvise in the key of C major. So if you've learnt the C major pentatonic, you'd then be in a position to play with other musicians in the key of C major, just by playing notes from your C major pentatonic scale. You would be improvising. Now, before you improvise, sometimes it's good to have a musical idea in mind. So essentially, as we've already said, improvisation is just making things up, but not generally from scratch, rather from musical ideas we've heard before, or sound similar to things we've heard before. So in essence, it's kind of like stringing a whole load of things together that we've learnt from the past, be it melodic, or in a solo bass, or rhythmic, or a combination of both. Some people have asked me what is the difference between practice and improvisation. Well, in simple terms, I always think of practice as play or perform, evaluate, and then plan, right? So we'll play something, and then once we've done that, we'll examine it in some detail, and then make some kind of plan as to the areas of what we're playing, what needs to be worked on, or where we would like to put our focus. So what are some pointers when it comes to improvisation? Well, perhaps the first thing is not to worry about making mistakes, because it's inevitable that you're going to, especially when you're starting out. But it's about starting that journey and having fun in the moment. One of the easiest ways to start improvising is probably playing over a 12-bar blues. So you could either lay down a loop or play over a backing track. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you did this in the key of C major, and you played a C major pentatonic or an A minor pentatonic, and you just randomly played some of those notes over what was being played, you would be improvising. So start simple. Rather than trying to play 100 notes at 100 miles an hour, maybe just concentrate on a few notes at a time. And if you can keep your attitude right, that plays a bigger part than you might realise. One of the biggest barriers between you and improvising is not how good you are on the guitar, how good you are at music theory, or how much innate talent you have. It's often the belief that it is something other musicians can do, but you can't do. And the first step of turning any idea into reality is believing that you can do it. If we believe that we can do something, we just have a far greater chance of being able to do it. I can remember when I started out on guitar, and if I played without confidence, it really showed in my playing. So it's important to have that belief in yourself. It really does go a long way. And maybe one thing to help you and to remind yourself of is that every great improviser started out sounding terrible. All right, so we all have hope. We can all do these things when we really believe that we can. That's an important thing to remember. Now, obviously, I'm not going to show you what I was playing in the improvisation, because then that wouldn't be improvising, right? But if it's something that people are interested in, you can post down below and we might revisit it at some point. But more importantly, try and improvise. And I'll see you soon with another lesson. In the meantime, you take care.